haven't had time, but I'm really interested in your guys' take on Anathema. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I did light side and dark side, and also Republic versus Imperial, and the difference between the two is nice. They actually put a little effort into it.
We can talk about it after. We won't spoil it on this podcast, but
yeah.
Having weird mad scientist ideas.
Excellent.
Don't mind me.
I'm just wondering what the next follow-up to this is.
Well, that's 6.0.
Chat room, let me know when you can see and hear us.
Yes, please. I guess, yeah. Are you typing in the chat? Because that's useful.
Yeah, I did.
Ooh.
As opposed to typing. All right.
It's always worrisome.
And Pat, if we don't end up playing D&D tonight, you're more than welcome to use the setup up here, of course.
Okay. If we even raid.
If you even raid, right?
Yeah.
We're in the content lull. All right, Speckles can see and hear us.
Yay! Yeah, so. Your guys' rating is about as likely as my weekend group playing or gaming.
All right.
I'm kind of wondering if while you're streaming to YouTube, if I can set up my side to stream to Twitch.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you are leading this off, so let us know when you want to take off.
I warned
We're all
you.
doomed. We're all doomed.
We're all going to die. It's about to get interesting. Define interesting.
Yes.
I've got a bad feeling about this. Okay, now we can start.
Hey, but yeah, if you've seen the solo trailer,
yes,
which I did see yesterday,
I've got a really good feeling about this.
No. I like this. I don't care that all the complaints about he's not Harrison Ford.
He's honestly the only problem I have with it is him. And then Donald Glover smiles, and I forget all my apparitions. Because Donald Glover has. Yeah.
He's such a perfect Lando.
Yeah. Yeah. He smiles, and I'm like, okay. I'm gonna see this movie. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's got somebody doing Lando Calrissian, and it's got a snarky robot. What more do you need?
What more do you need? Yeah.
And don't forget the Khaleesi.
Exactly. Yes. Literally, Cam and I are gonna be sitting next to each other.
Yes.
Like literally, I'm sorry. It's gonna be Cam and I sitting next to each other, oofing at those two. Like interchange. Like whatever one's on the screen. Like
speaking of oofing.
Yes.
Alrighty. Should we start this thing?
Yes.
Alrighty.
Give me one quick sec.
Sure.
That. Now I'm gray.
All right, and Max, you just typed that in officer chat, by the way.
Well, that's where Bliss was talking. Anyway.
Okay.
Go back to 30
Max
frames
is flashing. Got it. Yeah.
I don't know.
You are literally Max Gray. No, you're not.
There. Let's see if that's a little bit smoother.
No, right now you're just staring at us intently.
Yeah, it's pausing a little bit. Okay, now it should be okay, right?
Not yet.
I see myself.
You still seem very concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see
Max has concerns. Mine's frozen.
Yeah, mine's frozen too.
Let it go, Max. Let it go.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
The audio was going fine, but the video hadn't caught up.
And now your video's gone.
Now, your video popped and then it went silent. Or silent and went blank.
And it's blank again?
Yep, you are now dark gray instead of light gray.
Yes.
Let me just disconnect and reconnect.
Okay.
Look at these out of the way. This is what the radio checks are for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you can hear me all right?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
you're fine.
Carolyn? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're fine. Feel free to pull the boss whenever, Seema.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, now I'm filled with desire to go pull a boss.
Exactly. There we go. There's Max.
Does it seem to be working okay now?
You're moving now.
Okay.
Yay, there you go.
Hopefully that'll be stable and
yep,
work.
you are good.
Woohoo.
My rule is nothing new on race day, but
right.
I did mess with a whole bunch of things today for whatever reason. I probably should.
That's okay. You're good.
Rules are made to be broken.
That's
Yes.
right. And healers are meant to pull bosses.
Da-na-na.
That's what it sounds like in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's been a while. Alrighty. Let's start this crazy show in 5, 4, 3, 2. On this episode of the AIE Podcast.
Are you twitching for more AIE content? Boy, do we have you covered.
Come take a balloon tour.
Final Fantasy XIV is going mobile.
Captain, we need more ships.
And we have Max and Seema here to talk to us about AIE in Star Wars The Old Republic.
All that and more coming up right now. Welcome to episode 297 of the podcast celebrating you, the Alea Yocta-esque gaming community, the Die Has Been podcast. I am Yukao. And to my leftish, kind of northeastish, westish is McCullough.
So yeah, my craft sprawl's taking over the guild kitchen. Hope y'all like gears and keys to eat.
And to her right and down is Tetsemi.
May the force be with you. I think I got that right.
Yes.
Right. And
or
speaking
may
of,
it serve you well. Depends on which side you're on.
And speaking of force, this week we are joined by special guests Max and Seema,
Woo!
who are here to talk to us about AIE in SWTOR. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, and thank you for having us.
Always happy to have you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
And speaking of having you, so let's go ahead and go around and ask how everyone's real life has been going. Since, we're all into the online gaming, how's everyone's real life going? We'll start with Mikala.
So, as you know, because you're coming to visit us, Phoenix Comic Fest is Memorial Day weekend. This means since we last podcast, I've made 11 individual necklaces, 16 Hogwarts house necklaces, several dozen headbands. I've updated my spreadsheets, have now organized all of my crafting materials, and yeah, so that's my real life. Is pretty much obsessed with that. Gaming life, of course, rolling lots of dice. As I should be, virtually and in our table in front of us on Monday nights. And this Monday, we actually start a short mini Cities of Mist campaign. But instead of doing the City of Mist, we're actually doing a Marvel Ultimates game in the timeline where Reed Richards went evil, and where the Arizona Avengers, but we're working for him. Yeah,
interesting.
It's gonna be a good time, and so we kind of getting ready for that. Helped Dan Kenya and Elcars with their character sheets, and we're ready to go. So I'm excited about that.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of the spreadsheets, how are you doing, Tets? What's you been doing in real life?
I'm doing well. I finished up getting the third of 4 displays made, so McCullough and her partner Vakella can display their headbands at Comic Fest. I just have to build the legs. I modified some hinges that you would normally use on a little jewelry chest or something like that as display legs. And so I have to put those on the last display and get that set up. So they'll have 4 displays for all the headbands. So that's fun. But in gaming, I've actually been hanging around a lot in SWTOR. Max and Seema can't get rid of me. I have been doing a lot of conquest. There's a ton of... I'm actually doing a lot more conquest than I thought I would with the revamp, because the revamp has actually turned out to be better than I thought it would. So, mea culpa, I'll eat my own words on that. I didn't think it was going to be that good. It's actually, I think, for the guild, brought the guild closer together and made everyone more active on hey, here's a common goal we need to do every week. Let's all pile on to see if we can do it. So
Yeah, that's a good summary, and you have been doing a ton.
Yeah, and I won't spoil the news. I'll let Max and Seema talk about it, but we hit a conquest goal that we didn't think was gonna probably happen with the new conquest. So that was fun. I ended up getting, I think, 2 of my characters on the pub side to their personal conquest goal this week, so that was fun. And then we are kind of raiding in the lull that is the WoW expansion wait right now. There's rumors the PTR is going to be out soon, not soon TM, but soon, with the pre-event leading up to the expansion. We're in the beta. We've got 2 guilds running in the beta, and we've got people that are logging in and playing on that, so that's been fun. And then waiting for the Monday night game that McCullough mentioned. So having a lot of fun. Star Wars is definitely keeping my interest. I'm anxiously waiting the roadmap to see where we're going, because Nathema's out. We're done. Now what? That's what I want to see. So that's what I've been up to.
And then to our special guests, we'll start with Max. What have you been up to?
So yeah, I've been out here in the western suburbs of Chicago experiencing the 1 day of spring that we had. So last Saturday and Sunday, it was still freezing temperatures in the mornings, especially. Monday it was 70 degrees, and then it was 80 on in the 80s on Tuesday. It's back down a little bit now, but yeah, it was like
the 80s. Oh my gosh.
80, 85, right up there. But yeah, it's been great. I've been out running quite a bit, which I do all the time, but getting outside and being able to get in the fresh air, that has been really fun, making me go a little bit faster and longer, but then making me tired as a result.
Imagine, yeah.
In game, sort of in all the games or across the games, not in any particular game, I've been doing a lot of looking into how streaming works and getting that set up for the guild. A lot of people have been streaming, and now we've revived the AIE Guild official Twitch channel. We're trying to put some tools together to allow all of our AIE members who stream anything to be able to sort of promote and amplify their content, and then to allow our AIE people who stream AIE stuff to be able to host on the official channel and show off what's going on in all the games. So that's been pretty interesting and fun. We obviously have been using Twitch for quite a while, but getting into learning what a community is and what a channel hosting is and auto hosting and how all of that works has been fun the last couple of weeks.
The meta Twitch.
Yes.
Yes.
Twitch of Twitches. Anyway.
As we hear that voice, Seema, what have you been up to in real life?
Well, here in Maine, it's spring also. And the way that we can tell that is you can start using your front door again. Because obviously the snow has receded, and you don't have to actually shovel to get to the front door because everyone uses their garage doors basically.
Yeah.
So we have had our 1 day of spring, and oh my gosh, it was glorious. I mean, it was blue sky, sun, but yet breezy. Oh, and it was fragrant. And we've had daylilies and other kinds of lilies, the early flowers. And I think we're going to have a long spring this year. Spring for us is like mostly rainy and muddy, but I don't know, it does start to turn green and little buds come out on the trees, and I don't know. I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. However, I did think about turning the heat on today, so it's variable. I'm freezing today. But we'll have warm days. And we do get weather up into the 80s in the summer too.
That sounds pretty.
Yeah. Other real life notes. I was trying to think what I could tell you about real life that was interesting, and I had a hard time coming up with anything. I think I need to get more into my life and less into my virtual life.
No, as long as you're, virtual life is sometimes where the friends are and where you have fun. So
Yeah.
I thought I might tell you guys something you don't know about me. Many people do know this, including Max, but that is that I have a cat named Max.
Aw.
Oh, really?
Yes. And a friend of mine sort of adopted this feral cat in her neighborhood, and she had a litter, and she was raising the kittens, and she says, "I have this cat for you. I think he's just the right personality for you, and his name is Max." And I'm like, well, okay.
One of my best friends' names is Max. That's convenient.
That seems like fate. And when she gave me the kitten, she's like, "Are you going to change his name?" I'm like, no.
Is he gray?
He is gray. Oh my God. And he's got such a great personality, and yeah.
It's Max. That's awesome.
And then Max the Gray, our Max here, he's learned how to tell the difference between when I'm talking to him and when I'm talking to the cat.
Yeah.
That's
when
great.
she yells at the cat, and then I wonder what I did wrong on the podcast stream.
I thought for a second you meant like confusing. The cat Max. I'm like, wow, he's so smart. I'm like, oh no, it's fine. Max the Gray.
Yeah. No, the Max the cat, he thinks everything is about him.
Of course he does. He's a cat.
Yeah.
For cat.
Cat.
Yep.
It's like pirate.
I know. And Seema, what did you get to do on Tuesday night that you really enjoyed with a certain boss?
Tuesday night?
Wasn't it mandatory fun night? Was it this Tuesday or last
Tuesday?
Oh,
yeah. Yes. Last Tuesday night, we killed Xenoanalyst, not the eyeless.
Yeah.
I said it wrong on the podcast.
I've
already been corrected for that.
Okay.
That's okay. All right. And you, what have you been up to?
Yes.
Oh, me? Well, let's see. The latest thing is yesterday I finally joined everyone else, and we went to see the Avengers.
Ooh.
So we're still taking that in.
I saw your wife's Facebook post.
Yeah.
She seemed to be a little numb by when she posted.
Yep. It's one of those things where it's just there's a lot to take in. There's a lot of ramifications of what happened that you have to figure out.
There really is. I mean, it's fabulous, and I enjoyed it both times that we saw it. But yeah, there's a lot there.
Yeah, I'm just the thing I'm most excited about is the fact that now we don't have to dodge spoilers anymore.
Right.
Especially from a certain SJ that seems to have a problem with that sort of thing. But
yeah.
So now we're in the know.
However, we do actually need to dodge spoilers right now because Max hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
I see.
Well,
right, but by SJ we mean Scott Johnson, not Samantha.
Oh,
Jane.
okay. Yes.
Yes.
Like, wait. SJ's spoiling?
Yes.
That's not like yes. Okay. Scott Johnson, not Samantha Jane Jordan.
Yes. The infamous Johnson pulling.
Yes.
Which is actually two meanings, but in this case, it's the.
It is the Scott Johnson spoiling stuff for everybody. Yes.
Yes. And then other than that, I actually last few days been spending a bit more time in Final Fantasy. It's been a while because before that I was spending a lot of time in ESO, trying to essentially get prepared for the upcoming expansion. So I ran through Morrowind again, which was the last big expansion, and also did some of the there's some precursor quests about what's coming in the next expansion, having to do with the Mages Guild and the Psijic Order, as they say. So I was kind of catching up on that and just kind of leveling. I think we've talked about it off and on about how once you get to level 50, there's a champion point system where you kind of grind like it's just like SWTOR where you have like that overall level of your account. And you're contributing on whatever tunes at max level. And SWTOR, I think, goes a step further, and you still contribute on your lower level characters, don't you? I think that's the case.
Yeah, so sort of the champion level type system in SWTOR is per character, which has its downside as well. In ESO, it's at the account level, which is sort of cool.
I'm thinking of the legacy system is account wide.
Yeah, legacy is, but now we've got the command ranks. And command ranks get you the tiers of gear, and so ESO I do like that it does keep counting even after you sort of hit the caps on when it's useful to you. You can keep counting forever. It's an exponential curve, and it takes longer to get there, but it's pretty interesting. Yeah,
it's kind of interesting. And when I've been leveling that main character, I'll go to my alts and suddenly it's like, oh, you have a bunch of points you need to put to wear. So the work you're doing on your main character is actually helping even your low level characters because they get a little bit of a stat boost too. So I was kind of focusing and trying to get leveling in there. I got that finally to level 80, and then finished Morrowind and finished the Psijic Order quest line. So I thought it was a good time to kind of just take a break and not burn myself out. And so I've been doing a bit more of Final Fantasy 14. To get back into that. They have some stuff we'll talk about later in the show. And other than that, one of my rating groups finally got heroic Argus down. So
Congrats.
we are.
Oh, nice! Congrats.
So we are ahead of the curve, or at least I am. And so that's been fun. Now we definitely hit that pre-expansion lull where everyone's just like, okay, we're done. Let's just fall apart and forget that we have stuff that we're supposed to be doing. So that's been fun. Other than that, just lots of gaming here and there. So that's probably about it for me.
Cool.
Alrighty. But we definitely have more to say here and there. Let's go ahead and cover this week's news.
Okay, in community news, AIE is now active on Twitch, and the community is going to be streaming more often. Check out twitch.tv communities/AIE Guild. Plans are in the work for hosting AIE community member streams. Keep an eye out on AIE Guild site and in Discord, in the #content-creator channel for more information and opportunities. And speaking of AIE streaming, New Braid runs, as we well know, every Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern, and they also stream. The only requirement is that you're up to level 110 and you want to have fun with a whole bunch of the wacky AIE folks raiding. Spots fill up fast. Make sure you're there on time. If you have any questions, contact Dan Kinney. I hear she herds the cats around there. Tetsemi
to the dock. Tetsemi to the dock. He looks frozen.
Yes, he does.
I just heard "damn it" from downstairs. Please hold.
Technical difficulty. So I can, while he comes back, I can talk for a minute more about the Twitch stuff.
Yeah, I'll let him know that you're doing that.
Yeah. So the key word there with the Twitch streaming is there are the channel. I sort of mentioned this in the beginning. There's the channel. There's the community, which is sort of like a tag that anyone who's streaming on Twitch can tag the AIE community and say, hey, this pertains to the AIE community, or I'm part of the AIE community. You can watch this kind of stuff. We also have the channel in Discord, and the channel in Discord is content creators. And that's not only Twitch, but anybody who's in AIE who's streaming anything and sort of creating content on Twitch should certainly post their streams in there. But that's also for anybody who's doing blog posts or creating art or doing writing. We've got a lot of creative people all across the guild, so it's fun to have that content creators channel going. So we are going to fill up the official AIE Guild channel with videos, video on demand. We're going to be doing some hosting, and then we'll be doing official streams. After the show tonight, we'll do a Sunday night stream that will focus on the kinds of things that we're talking about on the podcast that I will host. And so tonight it'll be all about stuff going on in Star Wars, and we'll sort of show off more of what gets talked about on the podcast.
Awesome.
Including our guild ship.
Including our guild. Yeah, we'll go to our guild ship. We'll show off how that works and why that's interesting. We'll show what we did with Conquest and how you go about messing around with some of that. And then we'll probably pull in anyone in Discord who's hanging out and anyone who wants to come play with us, and maybe we'll find something fun to do.
Awesome. So while we're waiting on Tet stuff to catch up with us, do you want to actually tell us what you guys have been doing on the podcasts, the last 2 podcasts?
Sure. Seema, do you want to kick that off? What did we bring up my notes?
Right?
Yeah, right here.
Well,
we have some notes right there.
Well, let's talk about May the 4th to start. Why don't you kick it off with that?
So this past Friday was May the 4th. And if you were live at all and had any presence, touched the internet at all, you knew that. For Escape Podcast, instead of recording on our normal night during the week, we changed it to Friday in order to take advantage of May the 4th, and we did a run through of the new Flashpoint in SWTOR, which is called Anathema, which was really fun and really interesting. And we had a guest, one of our guildies, Zen, run with us. So we want to get back into doing that more, having third person there.
Neat.
And one of the cool things about the setting of this Flashpoint Anathema is it's previously a planet that had been just killed off. But when you go back to it in the time of this Flashpoint, it's had life injected into it, and it's starting to grow back. So there's plants and there's creatures and stuff. And I thought that was a really interesting concept. And I really liked how the Flashpoint looked.
I'm
it was green.
It is well liked. One of our Canadian officers, Apples, in the chat room, he's invented a new hashtag and a phrase for, instead of rage quitting games when they're actually really good, he calls it a cheer join.
That's perfect. Oh my god! So
we're all cheer joining Star Wars because this content's pretty good.
Seema, you made the comment about May the 4th. I just got a tweet from a friend of mine on Friday, and it was just in all caps. It's May 25th. And I'm like, clearly somebody wished him Happy Star Wars Day one too many times. He had to go off to me, knowing I would understand his rage.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
we can hear and see you.
All right.
We can.
Yes. Okay. I don't know if you want to at least talk about the podcasts.
Sure.
Or if you want to talk about the previous one there to get the previous one. There.
Yeah.
Okay. So Escape Podcast 240, which was 2 weeks ago, they continued to play through the Sorcerer class story on Belsavis, and they talked about in-game events and what else they'd like to see as an in-game event.
Woohoo.
Cool. Well, that all sounds interesting. But in the ESO area, they've decided to start doing their own mandatory fun nights on Fridays. And the Duras has kind of taken lead on streaming them. So you'll have to look forward to seeing those on Fridays. I believe they said, what is that, 8 to 10 Central? So
about that, yep.
Yeah. So if you want to get in on the ESO fun, if you've ever bought the base game, you don't need the subscription, jump in and have fun in those mandatory fun nights.
Oh, I see what happened. Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah. So I messed up the notes there somewhere.
No,
that's okay.
Of course, to compete with the new ESO Fun Nights on Fridays, Final Fantasy XIV also has their mandatory Fun Nights on Fridays. It's not quite as active there because they're in their own content lull. But we'll have a little bit of news later on about what they're going to be seeing soon. But you can watch Abavan as he wanders through Heaven's Ward, which is the previous expansion to the current. And he's been streaming that on his Twitch channel. So you'll be able to see that. And it looks like also Epilas has been doing the same. So go ahead and keep an eye out for that. On the aforementioned communities Twitch stuff, we'll hopefully see more from everyone.
Okay. And I just kind of moved some stuff around. I apologize for while you're reading, I'm moving stuff around.
It's not distracting at all.
We'll have to play around with this a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. We were trying a new format, so So in WoW news, community events, which should have been up earlier with the streaming, but that's okay. The next community event will be the Balloon Tour in WoW. More information on that in just a second. And next month's event will be Midsummer's Fire Festival to steal the Alliance fires on Sunday, June 24th from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, so server time, and we'll make sure that you guys stay posted on that as we know more information. The Balloon Tour event is on Friday, May 11th, starting at 11 p.m. server time. It takes 4 people queued up for a balloon to launch on the tour, so they'll be coordinating everyone to make sure folks can see which tour they want to see. Keep an eye out for the article on the AIE website for more information. And if you're in the
Battle for Azeroth.
Wow, my brain like BAFTA. No, BAFTA Battle for Azeroth beta. Just a reminder, they have a couple of code guilds available for you to join. We're on the Sylvanas server on the Alliance side. Yeah, we know we don't want to spoil the story. So just hop into the LFO channel in AI Discord to ask for an invite.
Yep. And in ESO, the newest chapter of the World of Tamriel, entitled Somerset, is going to pre-order and pre-release on May 21st for the PC and Mac, and for everyone else, those plus PS4 and Xbox on June 5th.
Yep. A lot of fun stuff coming there. But in patch news for Final Fantasy XIV, the next one, 4.3, titled Under the Moonlight, will be available late May. They still haven't quite got a date yet, but they'll probably have one soon. The new 24-player raid, continuing the Ivalice storyline, Pharos at Ridorana. I've practiced that one yet. There's a new 8-player trial that is still under wraps, which we don't have names for. But there is a new deep dungeon. Deep dungeons are the ones that just seem almost endless. It's called Heaven on High. It's less of a deep dungeon, though, and more of a very tall tower. Heaven on High will have 30 floors of story content, with floors 31 through 100 as a challenge content. For those that have gone through Stormblood, the latest expansion, or at least you've gone through the Doma part of Stormblood, you might remember the very large crisscross tower in the Ruby Sea. It was definitely one of the most striking features there. And honestly, I've wondered, when are we going to go in there? Because you can't build that big thing and not let us explore it. You know, that's just teasing. So they're finally got that all figured out. So we'll get to explore it. In related news, they will be debuting a new Final Fantasy XIV mobile app. It will feature chat, event planners, and let you manage your market boards, your auction house stuff. There are some premium features for like saddlebag storage and some retainer stuff for more big storage and market board slots, because your retainers can only sell so much, and of course you thought another retainer to get more. So makes sense that they'd go ahead and buff that a bit.
It's interesting that they're launching a mobile app that includes essentially an auction house, while WoW is taking their auction house mobile app down. Yeah,
it is interesting, because I have to wonder, like, if people that are only into that kind of gaming are going to be like, huh, what's that over there? And,
right, yeah.
Because it's the same kind of, cutthroat fun if you want, like, doing that whole auction house game. It's all there for you. And but in gaming game news for Final Fantasy, the Namazu Beast Tribe, aka the sentient Cashfish people, will have their own daily quest and reputation rewards, joining the rest of the grindable Beast Tribe factions, like the Hawaiian big furry owl dudes. I forget their names, and some of the other interesting ones like the goblins, and it's a lot of fun stuff. Coming with them. They are a very interesting visual race. They're literally a talking catfish with, for some reason, a cat collar bell, and they're very fond of their bells, for who knows why. But that's all something to look forward to in 4.3 as well. They will, of course, be expanding Eureka into the ice aspect area. Solo players are getting some adjustments to fare better in Eureka content, because it's not fun to go there and get creamed so easily. Items will be able to be withdrawn from your glamour dresser, which is interesting. This is the storage for if you want to keep things for just glamour purposes. In other words, it's like the transmog system, except you're kind of giving away an item so that you can use it for transmog. But apparently they're going to let you take it out again, so that's interesting news. They're also going to be doing cross-realm link shells. Link shells they're not quite a full guild. They're just a sort of a chat channel, but it's kind of like a more inclusive chat channel. I guess kind of like how Blizzard's doing the Blizzard communities soon, or the WoW communities, or whatever they are. That's what link shells are for Final Fantasy speak. But they're going to make it so you can do it cross-realm. So that'll be interesting.
That's useful, because there's from time to time, it's difficult for new AIE players to get into the server where we play Final Fantasy.
Yep.
And being able to have that cross-realm chat to at least get in contact and talk to people, that's gonna be very useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like also like Guild Wars 2, where you can be in 5 guilds and then just switch between the guild chats as well. It kind of helps people be in multiple communities, so it'll be cool.
Yeah. Yep, and if you want to at least talk to the AIE people, well, and you can play with us too if you're cross-realm. So having that's what that link shell is going to let us do, is still talk and play together, even if you're not fully in the guild.
Yeah.
And then for our top tier raiders, the ultimate difficulty raid will be unleashed, and that'll be coming in patch 4.31. This will be Ultima Weapon, who was one of the end bosses from A Realm Reborn, the first, not the pre-Calamity one, but the regular base game. That came back all the way back in 2013, which is, we've been playing this for a while, but they went ahead and remade it to make it an even harder fight. So it's going to be interesting. And then there's also going to be a new 4-player dungeon called the Swallow's Compass. So look forward to it, as they say.
Great. All right. And in STO news, need more ships? Until May the 7th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 20%. There's 20% off on all ships in the Sea Store. The ship and dry dock, the ship upgrade token are also 20% off. Also, if you buy tier 5 ships, you'll receive a free ship upgrade token. Phoenix Prize Pack is back at it again until May 10th at 7 a.m. Pacific. You can claim a free daily prize pack. You can also spend dilithium in the dilithium store to buy more prize packs for chances at some T5 and T6 ships. The free daily prize pack can be picked up at the Drozana station. Arena Sompek has returned. So until May 7th at 10 a.m. Pacific, you can claim a new ground weapon if you've completed the event 3 times. The time is a pair of... This time it's a pair of...
Sunkatse?
We're going to go with that. Gloves, which also unlock the new appearance at the tailor. They're offering the Elite Starter Pack. As STO shifts away from the monthly subscription, they're introducing the new starter packs as a way to unlock some more monthly subscription rewards. The lifetime subscriptions are, of course, staying and will still be available for purchase, so no worries if you decide you want to upgrade your subscription to that. Once you pick the starter pack, you'll get a new character slot, 20 shared bank slots, which are account-wide, 20 captain retrain tokens, increasing your energy credit caps to 2 billion. And then once per character, you can reclaim the C store to get 30 inventory slots, 60 bank slots, and 2 bridge officers slots. If you have unlocked all this from other methods, like most monthly subscriptions, you will not lose any of these perks. If you have any questions about the change, there's a great article on arcgames.com on the start, and just search for Star Trek Online for the news details. And, of course, if you still want to create Delta recruits, you have until May 17th. If you're unsure if you should create one, our STO crew highly recommends that you have at least one on your account. If you can, as they are beneficial to have both a Romulan and a Standard Federation. As Delta recruits, there are slightly different checkpoints for free accounts for free account-wide bonuses. This works with KDF as well, as having its own story and unlocks account-wide bonuses.
Yeah, Greybog's been keeping everybody up to date on that kind of thing.
No, really. Yeah, and there's definitely a lot going on.
Stuff. Yeah, I gotta get back in there. I have a mid-level captain of some kind in there. But that crew, especially Smoke, one of our other guildies who plays a lot of Star Wars, and Greybog have been doing a ton in there, which has been pretty interesting.
Yeah, and they've really been working up the star base. So any materials and stuff you guys can donate for the star base would be awesome.
Yes.
And speaking of star bases and blowing things up, in EVE, AIEU is recruiting. If you're already in the system, come back. It's a great time to be alive. We are in the process of taking our own space and having frequent fights with our old Alliance test. And I know, Max, you talked about you're going to have to reinstall and revive your EVE captains because you wanted to take a look at that as well.
Yes. So EVE has been doing quite a bit. That's been pretty active in Discord and our website. You can see they've got their recruiting propaganda engine spun up, which is a fun meta part of EVE. I always like watching that. I have no idea where my ships are. I mean, I have some pilots and a lot of equipment, but I think it's like way back.
Yeah, like just don't undock
years ago. I think I'm back in like test territory from 3 years ago, 6 VDT.
Oh, wow.
That stuff's pretty much like just lost. It's sunk cost.
Yeah.
But I will spin it back up because with these Sunday night streams, I'm gonna do whatever's on the podcast, and I think they're on the podcast next, aren't they?
They are.
Yep,
right,
true.
so then Eve is gonna
There's
get
a deadline.
It was awesome.
Winning Eve, I will.
We had you guys scheduled, and like right after we squared that away a few weeks ago, and then like right after our last show, Lank's like, "Hey, we want the next show." I'm like, "No, you can't have it."
Good answer.
Yes, like No, that's already scheduled. It's been scheduled for a while, and we wanted to make sure we got them on. You guys were just on. No, SWTOR gets first dibs there.
But it's basically Star Wars weekend.
Right.
It is totally.
Yes.
Although it's actually Star Wars month, honestly.
It's actually Star Wars life.
Yes.
Yes.
Says the woman with Rebel Alliance tattoo.
Right.
Alrighty, and then out of space, let's get back to fantasy.
Yes.
With a bit of Guild Wars 2 news. There is a balance patch coming on May 8th, and this includes a rework of the underwater weapons and skills, which is probably needed. Keep an eye out for the Guild Wars 2 blog for more details the morning of May 8th. We have a link in the show notes if you want to read more.
That's another interesting one. We've got a good group of players that continues to be active in Guild Wars. The underwater weapons, I remember equipping, I've got some sort of harpoon thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember what it
totally
does.
It's almost jarring if you don't know what's going on. You've got your regular weapon, you jump in the water, all of a sudden new set of everything. You're like, what? I'm just underwater.
Yes, and your guns are replaced. Yeah.
So that's probably what they're going to try to figure out, and it makes sense. You know, they do give you underwater weapons,
right?
So you've got your harpoons and your spears and whatnot, and it makes sense. It's just still kind of jarring if you don't know what's going on. You're just like, I'm never going in the water again. What's going on in there?
I don't do so. I hated Vashir so much that is it Vashir?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I had is that a Star Trek doctor?
No. Yes, it is.
I dislike that zone so much that like the idea of doing something in an underwater zone, just like, no, sorry.
Yep.
I get dizzy too quickly.
You can come to Star Wars then, where the maximum depth of any water anywhere on any planet is 1 foot. So
that's much better.
There's
much
no
better.
Water. There's just running on the water or dying.
That works.
Yeah.
That sounds much better. And
also unless you have the new. I was gonna say unless you're in the stronghold on Manon, that is underwater.
Right. And there is one chapter
if you stay indoors.
You cannot get anymore. The bonus chapter for the HK, the HK 55 bonus chapter had an underwater.
It did
an underwater fight.
You actually super funky music.
That was weird. It was weird and really cool. I liked it.
Oh,
cool. That we got one underwater fight in Star Wars.
Okay. And speaking of games where we don't have any underwater activities, LOTOR, so Lord of the Rings Online. There's some great sales going on and some events coming on. Actually, no, not sales. So I guess sales on kind of XP, maybe? I don't know. 25% Skirmish Marks weekend from 5/10/2018 to 5/14/2018. I apologize. I just went into work nomenclature. We didn't have to do that. Loot box, and then the following weekend, loot box weekend. So from 5/17 to 5/21, and after that we have VIP event boosts from 5/24 to 5/29. So that's going to be Memorial Day for those in the US. Check out LOTOR.com. for game news, and looking for LOTOR Beacon issue 58, excuse me, for even more events.
Sounds like they'll be busy this month.
Yes.
Alrighty. So let's get back to Max and Seema that have been so quiet during this bit of news and find out what's going on in SWTOR.
We like it when our guests are this quiet during the news. It's actually amazing. It's what we strive for every time. Yes. Coming on the show, don't be quiet during the news. We want interaction.
No.
Yeah, exactly. No, let's talk about it. It's all fun.
Yes.
Yep.
But yes, Star Wars is also fun, and we have been doing quite a few things.
Cheer join.
Cheer joins. This is awesome. I'm totally going to cheer join this game.
Yes.
That's my secret. I'm always cheery.
There you go.
So this week we figured we'd talk about two things that the guild has been doing sort of as a guild. Everybody's been coming together in a couple ways, and it centers around some of the new content that's in. One of it is Conquest, as we were talking about, and Tetsemi's been heavily involved in. And the other has been Isaacs. So I think we'll talk about Gods from the Machine Operation and Isaacs and what our guild teams did for that. Seema, do you want to start with a rundown of even what Gods from the Machine really is and how we got here?
So yes, Gods from the Machine is an operation that's been rolling out for the last 100 years or so.
Yeah.
We've been getting one boss at a time. Yeah, and the recently the last boss was added, and BioWare, the dev, I don't know if this is the dev's personal decision or if it was BioWare's decision, decided the last boss, he was going to make us work for it. So it's very difficult content, even on story mode, which is the easiest mode. And in our game, SWTOR, we don't have raid lockouts. So every time, and all our raid teams right now are raiding one night a week. So you have a couple hours to clear the whole instance up into the last boss, and then you get like 1 or 2 attempts on this last boss, which is super hard. So we've been sort of working together as a guild to share lockouts. So like we would go on mandatory fun night on a Tuesday night and clear a couple bosses in there, and then all the other raid teams could use that lockout to start with the third boss, so that they would have more time on Isaacs. And then individual teams, as they cleared Isaacs, they could then share a lockout, or if they got close to Isaac, they could share a lockout with the other teams. So that is basically how, as a guild, all our teams beat Isaacs, because for the time investment that we put in, it was really the only way.
Yeah. It was really nice how everybody was sort of coming together, sharing strategy. So for people that don't remember our mandatory fun nights, this is the Tuesday night open guild night. We're starting to do them in more and more. If not, hopefully we'll have them in all the games at some point. But anybody can join. You sort of level 15 above, and that's not even the highest level. And gear doesn't matter, and we do some open content.
Well, literally, we're not just saying gear doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, because of some of the mechanics in the game, which is really nice.
Yeah, that was great.
But this, for the past few weeks, what we've been doing is we've been using that mandatory fun night, and everybody's sort of voted, and everyone was all on board to take the whole group who was there for the mandatory fun night and just do a couple of the first bosses to start clearing some of that Gods from the Machine operation for our ops teams, then to be able to have a little bit of a head start. And everybody was on board with that. Everybody was really helpful. And beyond that, then sharing strategies and tips and tricks and that kind of thing, getting videos and notes posted to Discord, ended up getting us to the point where all of our ops teams now have Isaacs on farm. So it's great. One of the toughest fights in the game, and it was really, really fun to see that progression and get everybody through it. So that's cool.
And that's the membership does have its benefits when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, that's what a guild's for, and that's really how we all.
It's kind of amazing because on previous bosses, we really would just say, "Oh, I hate it that we don't have lockout extensions. This is game. We don't have lockout extensions. Oh, poor us." And then this time, for some reason, we got this idea. Oh, we'll just make our own lockout system.
Yeah, really, and we did a great job with it.
Yeah,
I think everybody's sort of taking a break now from Isaac a little bit. Although our Sunday night ops team is in there tonight again, I heard.
Great.
After 100 years of Gods from a Machine, we deserve a break.
Yes.
Yeah, there's reasons to go back because special decorations drop and that kind of thing. So it's not something we want to never do again.
Right.
And we have a little gear bump happening too, so possibly that'll make it easier.
Yes. Yeah. So there's an extra way that gear works in Star Wars is inside of each piece of gear, you have mods that make up the piece of gear, an armoring, a mod, and an enhancement. And then there's an extra slot, which is your augment. And all 4 of those pieces inside of a piece of gear, it sounds complicated. It's not as complicated as it sounds. But the augments got upgraded. New schematics are out there for augments. So everybody can take the augment and all of their pieces of gear. So that's extra 14 pieces and get a little bit of a stat boost. So yeah, maybe a few percent, maybe 5%, probably even a little bit, probably like 3% ish, but that's always kind of useful for this kind of thing. Here I have a picture of Isaacs for people that aren't familiar. So Isaacs is bigger than, a multi-story house. This is me on the ground looking up at Isaacs. His claws like to swipe at the ground, and you actually are helping an entire fleet of ships destroy him. So it's not even that you could necessarily kill him yourself. So it's a pretty cool fight.
It's more of a Godzilla than an Isaacs.
Right?
Yeah, he's got kind of a worm shape though too. That picture didn't really show it.
Yeah, let me.
Or centipede shape or something.
He flies, and he's got a long tail, and he flies through the air, and he's one of the coolest droid models that I've seen in any game. I'm a big fan of non-bipedal humanoid looking droids. I think that's a useless model for a droid, even in real life when I talk about robotics research. Why constrain yourself to that? So he is a very cool and unique model. Here, I'll show a couple.
Although there's a pretty cool droid in the new Flashpoint too.
There is a very cool droid in the new Flashpoint. Why don't you talk about the new Flashpoint then, Seema? And
yes, please.
I want a deco of that boss. I want a deco from that boss.
From Isaacs or from the new one?
No, the new one.
Yeah, the new one.
I want him as a companion. I want him as a mount.
You just want to
ride around on him.
You want to hang out with him.
He is so cool. I'll find a picture of him too while we're
yes. Well, we already talked about Anathema a little bit, but yeah, one of the boss fights you do is this new droid that we're talking about. He does have kind of a dog shape and a sort of he's like a creature shape. It's an interesting fight. In fact, all the fights in there are pretty interesting. And then I went through them first on solo mode, which you kind of do. That's how the progress goes, is you do it on solo mode while you get the story. And then you go back later with groups and do it more in a grindy fashion. And then the story elements don't happen there. So you don't have to like space bar through a bunch of conversations anymore. They're just not there. So you want to do the solo mode first to get the story. In fact, you have to. And the mechanics when you do the solo mode are not very obvious because it's just scaled down enough that you can win anyway. So then we went back in and did it on master mode. And we're like, whoa,
this is hard.
Yeah, we have to. Okay, how does this fight actually work?
Well, so the thing that threw me about that dog fight was I didn't notice at first the people around him that were channeling stuff. I'm like, why am I not doing any damage? What am I?
The droid things.
Yeah.
He also does this last Starfighter Starburst move where he spins around and shoots in all directions. I didn't realize until after we had done the podcast and done it for like the third time, and someone put in chat that you're supposed to stand behind those probes and they can shield you from that starburst thing, and we were just sort of eating it and healing through it.
Yeah.
Line of sight, what a concept.
Right?
That's never happened before.
Sounds like Easy Bone is what that is.
Yeah. We like it hard because it's scarier that way.
Right.
So this Anathema is just a flashpoint. So operations are the raids, and the flashpoints are like dungeons. This was also the story, as you were saying, Tets, the story that ends an era. So everything from the start of Knights of the Eternal Throne, or really back to thinking about the Emperor, the Old Republic Emperor, and everything that happened since then, all of that has sort of come to a conclusion and wrapped up in this last bit of content for the Anathema flashpoint in the story that ends, called the Traitor storyline. Samantha Walschlager, I think, is the writer who wrote at least this last bit of the story, and she did a really good job. There's some good fights, good story, and it does sort of, in some ways, reset a lot of things that have been happening over the last sort of 2 years in the story that took the Old Republic in a different direction that you sort of needed to step back from. You could think in WoW in terms of how, if you want to get back to Horde versus Alliance, you need to reset some things. You can't have everybody, being part of one big alliance and everybody be friends. You have to have a couple events that sort of reset the playing field to get back to a baseline that you can tell stories from again.
It's going to be interesting because it is kind of similar how in this X-Pack for WoW, if sort of finally, and I'm doing air quotes here, killed off the Burning Legion.
Right.
So that one big bad guy that's been around pretty much since the beginning is like not in the picture anymore. So now we're going to fight each other. Here in SWTOR, it's kind of the same thing. That since 2010, whatever, we've been the Sith Empire has been run by this Emperor Vitiate, and then there's been all this finagling to either kill him or protect him or avoid him or not be killed by him, and he's gone now. Yeah. So now we have to get a new antagonist.
Yeah. Did either of you thrown off by, because at the very end of both times I ran the Flashpoint, the very last transition at the end of the Flashpoint just said, "Thanks for playing Star Wars: The Old Republic."
I think that was just a wrap up of 5.9. 6.0 is confirmed. There will be a next generation. So
I know, but it was a little unnerving.
Thanks.
I didn't even notice that.
Thanks so long, and thanks for all the fish.
Right.
Yeah. It's the very last transition slide before you go back to Odessen when you finish the Flashpoint.
I think that was just sort of the end cap on the whole 5.0, 5.9.
Yeah.
I think at the end of Kotet and Copy, didn't they run credits too?
Yes. That too.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Like that.
We didn't get any credits.
Yeah, we should have gotten credits. I mean, this was not this was just a point release, not a major expansion. But it would have been nice for Samantha to get her name in the sort of the lead credits.
I liked it. I thought it was a satisfying ending. It tied up a bunch of stuff. Some people might think it was too tidy, but I liked it. I tied everything up, put a bow on it, and that appeals to my sense of order.
Yes, exactly. And as I said earlier, there is a big difference if you play Imperial versus Republic and light side versus dark side. The choices you make in the Flashpoint matter, and they are still impactful.
And there's little touches too if you play different classes even.
Yeah.
And that's so we won't get into that in this because it is a little bit spoilery. There's been a big demand for choices that matter in Star Wars. As part of it's because BioWare has set that expectation that it's interesting when choices matter, and people felt like in the first expansion, Knights of the Eternal Empire, Knights of the Fallen Empire, that choices didn't matter enough. I have problems with that. So if you want to listen to Seema and I talked about it quite a bit in the last podcast. The problems with making choices that matter, because imagine a Mass Effect game and you kill a particular character in your story and someone doesn't kill it in their story, and then they want to make chapter 2. Well, they can't put that character in chapter 2 because for some people that character is dead. So,
and for some reason, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
I don't know why the concept of choices that matter has devolved into someone has to die.
Yeah.
That's like so many different things that could matter, but it just becomes, can I kill so and so?
Right.
And the big problem with that.
Go ahead.
I was saying is one of the things about the whole, deciding who lives and dies. Like whenever you put two characters, like speaking of BioWare, you've put two characters and you have to choose between them. What you've basically done is you've killed both of them.
Right.
Yes.
They are no longer allowed to be important in the game because you've put them in that choice wheel. They're now stuck in this weird timeline that they may live. It's like Schrodinger's character. Like they might be alive, might be dead. And
exactly. I've said that. I've used Schrodinger's character thing myself exactly. So
when you think back to your favorite books and your favorite movies, the books that have you pick your own ending or the movies that have multiple endings aren't on your list.
Well, except for Clue, but
that's maybe, I don't know though. I might argue with you, but still, it's sort of like. I think what people want when they say, I want my choices to matter, there's a gap between what they're saying they want and what BioWare is hearing they want and what they're trying to deliver. And I think it's, there's so many ways you can make things matter. It doesn't have to be game-changing things.
Right,
necessarily.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think someone doesn't always have to die.
No, and I think that's one of the big things is if it's the decision of I'm going to keep in the storyline with this character, or in my version of the story, this character is exiled from the Alliance, then that character still exists and can still play part of the story. What I didn't like is not Anathema, but this is earlier. One of the decisions when you first land on Odessen is which side are you going to ally with, and then they immediately kill off the other faction leader. And it's like,
yeah, that was terrible as well.
That was terrible.
I mean, why? That didn't make any sense.
Like, if you decide to romance one of your companions or to make that same companion mad, then throughout the rest of your gameplay, that companion is either, hugging and kissing you or turning a cold shoulder. That was a choice that mattered.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. That was a simple choice. Yeah, exactly. And I think the other thing is, like, for instance, in WoW, there's one quest in Stone Talon where you basically, because WoW is so linear, you end up having to bomb an Alliance Druid tree and see the repercussions that come from that. Whereas in SOTOR, when you explore that, you can say, no, we're not doing it that way, or yes, that's the way we're going to do it, and then explore the consequences. And I think, that sort of decision of, let me figure out how I want this end to occur, and the consequences that come from it are more interesting than pick between Vet and Torian.
And more personal.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Always be Torian.
So one other thing we'll touch on. I know we're going on a little bit long here for you guys.
No. Go on. We got a late start. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, no, please.
We've
been trying to get you on here for how long? No, please.
So,
keep talking, guys. We want this.
So while I kick off the next one, I'll put my statue of Isaac's up here. He's got
there he is.
Huge claws, and he's perched on this platform, and he's sort of got like this long skinny tail that goes down, and he flies almost like an insect through the air. It's really cool. But anyway, the other thing we wanted to talk about, which is definitely a really awesome guild activity in Star Wars, is something called Conquest. And what Conquest is a weekly challenge that's both personal and guild. So here up on my screen, I have a list of the personal targets, which are point totals, and I'm trying to reach a point goal for me personally. But then there's also an overall guild target, and you can choose as a guild whether you go after like a small, medium, or large target. And if you reach the goal, and there's increasing rewards for each, and if you reach the goal, then you get some extra rewards. It used to be quite a very competitive thing against other guilds. You had to sort of end up in the top 10 to count for getting the guild rewards. Now it's sort of, if you meet the target, you get it. And this is one of the changes that Tetsumi was talking about. Mm-hmm. So I think between us, we can sort of go around and talk about our experience with Conquest. But this has been very fun for our guild the last few weeks, especially, both seeing where this is going to go, going after personal targets, helping other players, helping each of us and our peers get our personal targets, and then all of us then getting our guild targets. It's a fun sort of meta gaming system. And I guess just to sort of ground it all, the things you do to get your point totals are play the game. Do an operation or do a flashpoint or do some
what you're doing anyway in the game.
And little bits of everything. And each week is a different theme, and maybe you have to do slightly different things that week, but it's tricking you into playing the game. And if a game tricks you into having fun, you're having fun. So
and I saw it's interesting that on the Guild Invasions tab, it actually showed like how everyone else is contributing on the upper right.
Yes, and you can see that in detail on the guild tab. There are some guilds that put that just do Conquest, and they give out prizes for the top contributors of people that have contributed points that week, and incentives, and it's all just about Conquest, and everything in their guild is about Conquest, and that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. One of the big changes that impacted more than I think people were expecting was they really diminished crafting in the game as far as how it impacts Conquest. It's still a part of Conquest, but there were times when you would see guilds like Monday, they would queue up all their crafting stuff. So when Tuesday hit, they would unlock, and all of a sudden, boom, they're in first place by like 1,000,000 points. And you're like, what the heck happened? And it was just because they were a crafting guild and they figured out, okay, if we have all these materials saved up, here's what we make, here's what you do on this many characters with this many level 50 companions or influence companions. And, you know, they had a whole system. So it really kind of shook that to the core and made it more competitive. What's interesting is B. Kavanaugh and Sakic have put up things that the larger guilds did that we didn't kind of know about. Like one of them is farming the little decos in your stronghold for materials. I think is it B. Kavanaugh or is it Sakic that logs in like 3 times a day and just runs all his characters through that? And it's basically free, you know, free crafting stuff that you don't have to go onto a planet and hunt for. But there's always the chance that you're going to hit the 4-hour lockout and then you can't use that character to farm that, you know, for the next 4 hours. So you go on to the next character. But like Max said, the big thing for me was it got everyone back into doing the game and not just, oh, I'm going to queue up a bunch of crafting stuff and hit my personal goal, do my contribution, and I'm done. Mm-hmm. Now it's, let's go find the world boss. Let's go take part in the Gree event. Let's go, you know, do the heroic thing where we have to take down the boss in the Gree event, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It was, crafting was so overpowered that, especially for the weeks that were very focused on it, it didn't make sense to do anything else, was pretty much the deal, which that defeats the purpose of the system. You want that incentive to do a variety of things. You want guilds going off and doing the theme of the event. So that's why they sort of walk that back just a little bit.
It's nice that it definitely seems to be encouraging the guild play as not just a group that you do group content with, but actually working together.
Yeah, and the other issue of, you know, you like it when people have to play the game and they're not just, you know, sub just to push a button and then walk away for the week.
Mm-hmm.
So they're actually in game. You see people doing things.
I think,
and one thing we did.
Oh, go ahead.
So no, I was gonna say the one thing that I didn't think we'd do with the new system, and Max and I kind of had a debate on this, was if we could hit the medium planet goal, because your personal conquest is like 15,000 points, but to hit a medium planet, you have to do 550,000 points worth of conquest. And with a smaller guild like ours, we were kind of looking at it going, do we have enough people with enough contribution across enough characters to actually hit that goal? And this week, just everything lined up perfectly, and we completely obliterated that goal for the pub side.
Yeah, we did. So pub side, when we say pub side, we have a guild that spans both Republic and Imperial in Star Wars, which is different than some of our other games where we sort of focus on a particular faction. And there's downsides to that, but when we launched, it was such a strong desire to play both, and we all ended up having characters on both, that we went that direction. So what we do is when we do things like our open guild night and we do focused on conquest, we switch back and forth and we say, this week's going to be a Republic week. So this week was a Republic week, and we all sort of got on our Republic characters, and we went after a medium target, which was we thought it could be a stretch, and we ended up blowing it away. And it was really fun. Seema, do you want to sort of mention, and I'm sure Tetsumi will have some commentary about this, but the whole spreadsheet thing and the guildies that have been working on that for us? I think you're muted, Seema.
Okay. Yes, I was muted. And then I had to find my way back to the tab that had, because while Max was talking, I was looking at game stuff. But yeah, so B. Kavanaugh made a spreadsheet, which there's a tab for each of the different events. Like Conquest is a different event each week and has different subparts. And so you can look at that spreadsheet, make a copy of it for yourself, and then use it to figure out what activities you have to do to meet your minimum target if you want to. Like, so I would use it to say, okay, I'm going to do this crafting thing. If I do it 5 times, how many points do I have to make after that? And what activities can I use to fill that in? And it's been incredibly useful. In fact, one week I got some points accidentally on the wrong character, like a lot of points, like 10,000 points on the wrong character. So all I had to do was go back to the spreadsheet and say, okay, my original plan isn't going to work. Let's make a new plan. And yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. B. Kavanaugh is a cool guildie of ours. He's been sort of doing some of this work on his own and doing I mean, this is not only is it a beautiful spreadsheet, which we all appreciate, I'm sure.
Explains why Ted is in there.
But,
that is nice. Wow.
He's had to pull the data out of the game in various ways. He's wrote a Python script that parses XML data files that has where all of the point totals are coming from inside of the game files, working with some of the data mined public information. Continues to update it and keep it up to snuff for us. I think we're gonna try to get B. Kavanaugh on the podcast before long to talk about his process and what he's done here.
You're starting to talk my language.
That'd be good.
And
go ahead.
I mean, this week all this information was updated in the new patch, and he was at work right away. In fact, the day before, making sure the spreadsheet was up to date with the new data points.
And this is all while he's planning. I think he's about 18 days away from his wedding.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And he's just a great guy. He showed some engagement pictures of him and his fiance, and they're very cute. So,
but are they having a Star Wars wedding?
I don't think so.
I'm thinking though, it's 18 days out. It's so close to the 25th.
That's true.
It should be a Star Wars wedding.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it is solo.
So one of the that's bad. One of the things that he did is, besides just putting the spreadsheet together, he's also given us a lot of good strategy of like, okay, here's what you can do as a solo PvE person. Here's what you can do if you like to PvP. Here's what you can do if you're a crafter. That sort of thing.
Yeah. So big shout out to B. Kavanaugh, BC, who's done a ton. Zen has been one of our key contributors on the Republic side and driving sort of that focus on Republic. Sakic has been he's relatively new to the guild. He spent a lot of time and still contributes to one of those conquest guilds, very conquest focused, the kind of guilds that would be winning planets and putting up millions of points. And that's been really good insight for us just to understand the whole meta game around how that kind of guild works. And then certainly shout out to Arvashet, who's one of our officers, who's sort of been our conquest daddy. Our conquest overseer for quite a while. So that's been excellent.
Yeah, I think Sakic said one of his guildies actually hit 500,000 conquest on one character this week. Like they planned. I'm like, yeah.
So
I was like,
post patch to be able to do that is quite a feat. That's, I think the most I had on any one character was probably like 20,000, 25,000, not 500.
So Atlas wants to know, for the uninformed or for the people who might have access, how do they get access or find that spreadsheet?
Yes. Okay. Step 1, join AIE. AIE-guild.org. Find us in game on the Starforge server. Catch us on Twitter at Max the Green at AIE SEMA. Our trailer to our podcast. No, but it's in Discord. So perfect. You don't have to be an AIE. We'll get you the access to it if you really want, but you should, because then you'll have all the updates and you'll hear what BC has to say about it. But it's pinned in Discord, in the public Discord in the SWOTOR channel.
Wonderful.
So it's pinned there.
And I do think, Max, with the 5.9 patch, there was one thing we wanted to make sure people knew about, and that's the double XP, Command XP stuff coming up.
In progress. So that's, we're in that right now. Double XP, double CXP, which is the command ranks, and double ship requisition. So something that not a lot of people do lately, I have done a ton in the past, is I can flip to it over here, is there's a whole sub game inside of Star Wars where you have fighter ships and you do PvP battles with your bombers and your scouts, gunships, and strike fighters.
PvP, me against the asteroids.
Yes.
The control system, there's a sort of a little bit of a learning curve to figure out the control system. So you will run in and just be crashing into asteroids for quite a bit and not hitting anything because the targeting system is sort of interesting. So once you get through the dozen or so matches it takes to acclimatize yourself, you could be doing Starfighter, but there's bonuses to that in this process as well. So if you're looking to level up a character, now is a great time. How long does this go? It's only like three or four more days though. It wasn't just a week of double XP. But there's other ways to get boosts and to be leveling relatively quickly these days as well. And as we said, even though the levels go all the way up to 70, by the time you're level 50, which you really could do in just a few days, you're ready for all of the end game content with the guild because you don't need any gear. There's no real gear grind for the tier of content that we do. It's all good times from there.
Sounds like fun.
Yes.
Did I miss anything, Seema?
No, I think we've Star Ward our way to the end of our section here.
Great. Well, there's some really wonderful news. Thank you so much.
It's very, very interesting, very tantalizing. Definitely, I've been trying to load the client all podcast, and it still wants to verify and reorganize everything for me. So
it's really does a lot of reorganizing.
Yes.
I'd like to reorganize.
Yeah.
If only I could reorganize my closet while it's doing that.
I can help you with that.
If only you could see the rest of this room you can't see behind my camera.
Why is it when I reorganize my closet and I get it all put back together, it looks exactly the same?
You don't need. So you know how Ted is really well known for his spreadsheets.
Yes.
Yes.
My side of the closet's. Okay, my 3/4 of the closet is kind of is the same way where everything is like color coded in sections, and yeah, it's bad.
Good. Well,
I admire that.
Yeah, I have a clothes problem, so I kind of it needs to be that way.
It's actually the color coding thing is also very common because Mrs. Mew does the same. If you look at her side, you see it's all a rainbow. It's very, very visually pleasing. Yeah. Honestly,
mine is types of clothes are together, and then they're color coded within those types.
Nice.
That's excellent.
I'm highly impressed.
I have too many clothes. Ask Ted. Literally, he has. When I say 3/4, I mean 7. It's like 7/8 of the closet.
I have the upper rack of one thing and a little shelf over here for other stuff and some place for my shoes on the floor, and everything else is hers. So
yep, because McCullough has a clothing problem.
That's how it goes.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, thanks for joining us in Clothing Podcast.
We didn't even get into transmog.
Totally.
Right? There you go.
Yeah, but that has been our show for tonight. So while the chat room begins suggesting show titles, we want to definitely thank Max and Seymour for joining us and bringing us all kinds of fun information.
It was a blast. Thank you for having us.
Yep.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And anyone who is listening in the chat room, certainly stick around. It'll take us a few minutes to get reset, but we'll start the stream and give you physical tours of the spaces. Hopefully, Mew, you can get logged in by then and come hang out.
One day.
Yes. All right. And guys, if we want to find you guys on Twitter or out and about, where can we do that?
Yeah. So me, I'm at Max the Gray, and our podcast is at twitch.tv/New Overlords was the old name for the base for our podcast. We'll probably also sort of start having it hosted, since it's an AIE podcast, on the Twitch channel, so you could look there. And newoverlords.com is where you can sort of find the feed to the MP3 and the iTunes links and that kind of thing too.
Awesome. And if you guys have questions,
Seema,
I'm sorry.
Seema. I skipped over Seema.
Yeah, we're speaking for Seema. Seema, where can we find you, darling?
You can technically find me on Twitter at AIE Seema, but I really am not a Twitter head.
So you can come in game. Look her up in game.
I do have it. If you mention me specifically, it'll come to my phone. So I will try not to ignore you if you do mention me. But yeah,
Seema always has interesting alerts for DM. So if you want to light up her phone, DM Seema.
Can you tweet out pictures of Max the cat?
You know what? I definitely will do that.
Oh, good. Okay, I want to meet Max the cat.
Maybe I'll put some in Discord.
Yes,
there we go.
Please.
That's a great idea.
All right. And if you guys have questions or comments about our show, please email us at thepodcast@aie-guild.org. You can follow us on Twitter. The show is at AIE Podcast. We send out show alerts as soon as usually Sunday nights, right before we're about to begin, about an hour beforehand also. The Mew is at the Mew Cow because evidently Mew Cow was taken. I am at Cyberwave. And Tetsemi is at Ivory Tiger. We record live with video every other Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can join the chat room and play with us on our website at aie-guild.org, podcast-live-stream, and in our Discord server, which is bit.ly AIE Podcast Discord, which is what we use for our chat room. By the way, chat room, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for joining along tonight. Our theme was composed by the amazing Andrew Allen. Follow him at Keys with Soul or visit his website, keyswithsoul.com.
And now it's time to play all of the great AIE member segments, including, yay, we got an alt-itis from Mew Cow.
That guy. But next time, we'll be talking to Hoots and Lank and Eve. So, until then, AIE, this is Mew Cow.
This is Makala.
This is Tetsemi.
And this has been the AIE Podcast. Dun, dun.
Yay!
Yay, we did the thing.
Nice. Nice.
So, Max, you're going to be streaming SWTOR, right?
Yes. Tonight is SWTOR. Probably take about 10 minutes or so to reset. And I got to fix my overlay here.
Very cool.
And what are you doing next week? Are you doing ESO?
No,
in between the podcasts.
Oh, in between. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Maybe ESO. I thought maybe even Overwatch with Cyrene.
Oh yeah,
that'd be good.
Oh, there you go.
She's been streaming that a lot lately, and we've got AIE people playing that. I do either that or maybe even pull in Lotro or Star Trek or one of those where people have been doing a bunch of stuff and we haven't seen it in a while.
Cool.
But then 2 weeks I'll be in Eve.
Yep, cool. So we have 2 show titles right now for you guys to choose from. As our guests, you will get to choose the show titles.
What were the tricking players into having fun? That's definitely good. I do like something with cheer join in it.
I agree.
So either what Apples said or even just saying that the show title is SWTOR #cheer join.
That's fine, honestly. SWTOR #SWTOR #cheer join is pretty perfect.
I like it.
Yeah, cool.
Okay,
let's get that trending.
There we go. Yeah.
Please, yes, Cinderplane. We would love it if you could if you wanted to do a segment for the podcast. We will play the heck out of that thing.
Yeah, that'd be great.
If I can get in, anyone can.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool.
Awesome.
Sorry about the technical difficulties in the middle of the start of the podcast, but
it worked out, and we had a ton of news, and we had really fabulous interactive guests. So it went long, and I'm happy about it.
I mean, it's basically like the part where you had to stop, but we had the people you were talking about here. So.
Exactly.
No, exactly.
So guys, by the way, Mew and Tet, I did update our template to include the new community stuff and also basically streaming and podcasts under community and then upcoming streams.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I updated some of the things that have been annoying me that we had some inconsistencies on the template. So inside baseball, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
So like how it goes, like host 1, host 3, or host 2, host 1 for the exits, and like so little stuff.
Cool.
All
right. Well, again, thanks, Max and Seema. We really appreciate it, and I will see you guys Tuesday night, definitely for mandatory fun night.
Yeah.
Yep. I need to go wrestle a toddler.
All right. Have fun. Good night, chat room. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you. We love you guys.
Good night,
Good night, everyone.